Hello everybody, it's Miss Compton, and today we're going to talk about plant structures. First, I want to know, does anybody remember any plant structures that you might have learned about before? Think about it for a second. I know that we have learned about plant structures before, and here I have a celery stalk, and here I have one with the leaves. And one plant structure are the leaves. Then we have the stem or the stalk. And then at the bottom, you can kind of see where the roots would start, the roots of the plant. So those are some plant structures. I also want to think about what kind of plant structures you have eaten in real life. I kind of gave you a hint there. We have celery, which is the stem of a plant, maybe lettuce, which are the leaves, and what about a potato, right? A potato is a root of a plant. So those are some plant structures that we know, we eat them, we've interacted with them in our everyday lives. So today we're going to talk about plant structures and what their functions are, what they do for the plant. So I want to know, how does water get from the ground up into the rest of the plant? And today we're going to do an exploration with the celery to try to see if we can figure out how that happens. So what you're going to need is celery. You're going to need 2 cups of water, red and blue food coloring, and scissors. Okay? So you're going to get your cups of water, which I have here. Next, you're going to cut the bottom off of your celery and just do it straight like this. See how I did that? Okay, next you're going to cut your celery down the line of symmetry, like that. It's a vertical line of symmetry, and I'll show you how to do that. And you're just going to cut it down the middle, like this. Just about that far up, that should be good. Next, you're going to put some red food coloring in your water, and you're going to put some blue food coloring in your water, and I've already done that. So here's my water. Next, you're going to take your celery, and you're going to take one side and put it into the red water, and one side and put it into the blue water. And then we're going to let this sit for a while and let the plant do its thing, and then we're going to come back and look at what happened. So I have one with me that I have already let sit for a little bit, and I will show that to you. So first I'm going to get this one out of the way. Okay, so here is the one that I have let sit for a little bit. And the longer you let it sit, the more you will see. So here is my celery, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of these cups and I'm going to lay it down on a paper towel. Okay. Then I'm going to put these cups over here. And now we're going to make observations and look and see what we find in this celery. Now I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. So here we are. And by the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to say, I can create an argument about how the structures of the plant help it grow and live. So here's our experiment. Can you predict what happened? And this is for our observations. What did you observe about the celery after the food coloring was added to the water? So what did you observe about the leaves? Let's look up at our leaves here. If you can see them. You see the leaves here? Now, in person, the leaves, see where it kind of looks dirty at the tips of the leaves? That is where the red, and you can kind of see blue over here, that's where the red and blue food coloring has made its way up into the leaves. So let's write that here on our chart. Okay, we're going to write that. Got to move myself. Okay. One more time. Okay, so let's write that. So in the leaves, we saw little bits of red and blue. Okay, now what did we notice about the stalk or the stem of the celery? Let's take a look at that. So we can really see here that the food coloring has gotten into there. Now let's cut it and see if we can see anything else. I'm just going to cut the top like this. Let's see if we can see anything. Can you see that in there? Do you see those little holes or tubes? And see kind of how they're kind of red? Let's look at the blue one. You can kind of see them in there too, right? And they're kind of blue. So let's write that we saw little tubes. We saw little tubes with the red and blue water in it. Okay, what do you think happened to the celery? Why do you think that it turned blue and red and that the leaves even changed color? And that's what we're about to find out. That's what we're going to look at today. And here, let me erase my words. So here, this is what you would be able to see if you were in person. This makes it a little bit easier to see. You can see the red and the blue. You can see the little tubes really good over here, right? Okay, so we're gonna move on. So here we are again with the parts of the plant. Can you identify them? We talked about this. This would be the flower. This would be the stem, the leaves, and down here, the roots. So what do plants need to live and grow? Well, they need several things. They need sunlight, they need air, they need water, and they need nutrients. So this helps them grow, but it also helps them to stay healthy. Okay, how do you think plants collect sunlight, air, and water and nutrients? How do you think they probably do that? Maybe you're thinking, well, maybe they collect it through the leaves. Or maybe they collect it through the stem. Or maybe they collect through the roots. So what do you think the function of the leaves, stems, and roots of plants are. Plants collect what they need through their external and internal structures. This includes leaves, roots, and stems. The main external structures of plants are the roots, the stems, and the leaves. First, we're going to talk about roots. What is the function of plant roots? Well, they support the plant, they hold it upright, so if the wind blows, something happens, the plant is going to stay upright, it's not going to break. They anchor the plant in the ground. It gives something to connect to the roots to let it anchor into the ground. And it collects and sometimes stores water and nutrients. Down here we see a potato, and we talked about earlier how a potato is a root of a plant. And why a potato is so big is because it stores nutrients and water for later when the plant needs it, maybe in the wintertime or maybe at night. And there are different types of roots. There are fibrous roots and there is a taproot. So here we see an example of a fibrous root system, and you can see that there's lots and lots of tiny roots, and they're all about the same length. And then you have even tinier root hairs that shoot off from those and collect water from the soil. And these usually stay in the top of the soil, and that's where they get their water, and they do it pretty quickly. Now the other type is a taproot. You can see that there's one main taproot here, and then you have little root hairs stemming off from that, but this is your main root right here. And so what that does is it goes deeper into the soil than the fibrous roots and collects the water and the nutrients that the plant needs. And so a potato is a type of taproot, and here we see a carrot. Okay, what is the function of the stem? I don't know, maybe we can use what we learned in the exploration as evidence. Well, the stem, it connects the roots to the leaves, and it supports the plant. It also transports water and nutrients to the different parts of the plant. So think about what we saw with the celery. Do you think you saw evidence that supports this argument that water and nutrients are carried through the stem to the different parts of the plant? Yeah, we did, right? Because we saw our leaves changed colors, right? Our stem changed colors. So there are different types of stems, okay? You have a trunk, you know that. Tree trunks, you see them every day. Those are thick and woody. They're very strong. Then you have thick and fleshy, which that would be like, this would be an example of thick and fleshy. See how it's thick and it's got a lot of stuff in there. And then you have thin and flexible, and that's really like grass and different things that can bend and move in the wind, and they're not going to snap or break. How do stems transport water and nutrients to the different parts of the plant? Well, stems transport water and nutrients to different parts of the plant using its vascular system. The vascular system is a system that's made up of tiny straw-like tubes that move water and nutrients up and down the plant. And they only go in one direction. So some of those tubes that we saw, you can see them right here in our experiment, some of those tubes move them up and some move down. Now we're going to talk about the leaves and what the leaves of the plant do. So what is the function of the leaves of the plant? Well, the leaves are very important because the leaves make food. The other parts of the plant, for example, the roots, they collect nutrients, but the plants or the leaves make the food. And they do this by collecting sunlight. Leaves, we know that they're green, and they're green because they are full of chloroplast. And chloroplast captures sunlight and turns it into energy. And the leaves make food for the plant through photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process which the energy from the sun is converted into plant food. So the chlorophyll in the plant's leaves collect the sunlight, and then the plant collects carbon dioxide from the air, as you can see there, and water from the ground. The plant combines these three ingredients to make sugar, and sugar is the plant's food. As the plants use the energy from the sugar, the plants release oxygen into there, and we breathe it. So let's talk about the differences between food and nutrients, because they're not the same. And I think it might be easy to get confused about that, because food and nutrients, we usually think about the same type of things, but they are different, because food, plant food, let me get my pen. So plant food gives the plant energy. And this energy helps the plant to grow, to get bigger. Now, nutrients are different, because nutrients they give the plant not energy, but they help the plant to stay healthy. So think about when you eat food like cheeseburgers, or maybe you like to eat tacos or something, and think about when you take your vitamins. That's two different things, right? When you eat your food, you have more energy to go out and play and do whatever. But when you take your vitamins, that helps you stay strong and healthy. So like it can help your hair be shiny. It can help your skin have an even texture. It makes you healthy. That's the same with plants. The food gives it energy so that it can grow, but the nutrients do not give it energy. It helps the plant to stay strong and healthy. So that's the difference between food and nutrients. So now I'm just going to erase all my letters. See, if we were in person today, I was so excited to see you guys. And if we were in person today, I would be able to do this on the whiteboard. But that's okay. I'll get to see you guys when you get back. Okay. Next. So why do you think it's important to understand plant structures and their functions? We talked about the roots of a plant. They collect water and nutrients from the ground. We talked about the stem. It holds the plant upright, and it keeps the plant from blowing over in the wind, and it also transports the water and the nutrients up and down the plant. And then we talked about the leaves, which collect sunlight and make food for the plant, right? Through photosynthesis. So why do you think this is important? Why do you think we're learning this today? Think about it for a second. Two reasons could be, maybe if you want to grow crops of any sort. Like in my backyard, I had some corn, I had some strawberries and cucumbers, and because I knew about the structures of the plant, I was able to grow food for myself successfully. So that's one way. Crops. So we can grow crops and food. And another thing might be What if you want to grow a garden, a beautiful garden where you can go out and smell your flowers? When you go outside, it just looks beautiful. That's another reason why it would be important to understand plant structures, because if you understand that you have your flowers, you have your roots and everything, you'll understand what your plants need to grow, to be healthy, and to look beautiful. All right, garden. So now I'm going to erase it real quick. And there are a lot of other ways that knowing about plant structures is important. Maybe another way it could be important is that if you understand plant structures and you know about the leaves, you know about the stems and roots of a plant, then you can know what parts are safe to eat maybe. So what you're going to do for me now is you are going to go to this exit slip about plant structures, and you're going to create an argument about what you think the purpose or the function is. Now, mine looks a little bit different than yours is going to look, but yours is going to be in sections. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to write your name. Next, you're going to make a claim about plants and their structures and their functions. Then you're going to give evidence. We talked about this evidence through our exploration activity with the celery. Then you're going to give another piece of evidence, maybe from what we talked about in class. So thank you guys. If we were together, what we would have done is we would have turned to each other and talked to our neighbor and practiced making these arguments. And maybe you could still do that at home. Maybe you could tell maybe your siblings your arguments and your evidence about the functions of plant structures. Or maybe you could tell the people that are in your house, whoever that may be, whether that be your mom or your babysitter, whatever. Maybe you could practice doing that before you take this. But thank you so much for watching my video, and I am so excited that I got to teach you all this lesson, and I will see you next time.